after her illness. I think that she'd done this. Catherine was extraordinary because she would never have told anybody. But she was another wonderfully sort of matter-of-fact person. Came as an absolute, and it was a wonderful thing to do. And of course, it's marvelous that her name is there.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel where, like pages from an engrossing book, the secrets and tragedies of the British royal family are revealed. What if I told you that King Charles, the reticent ruler who has withstood scandal and criticism, abruptly dropped his guard in a manner that rocked the palace's foundations? Charles sobbed as he addressed Princess Catherine's ongoing health fight in an unexpected video broadcast that took the world by surprise. However, it was more than just unadulterated passion. In a startling announcement, he bestowed upon her an honor so uncommon that few people in royal history have ever claimed it. Even Queen Elizabeth Vars, the famous Tudor monarch whose unwavering legacy continues to reverberate through the halls of power, was directly on his list of targets. This was no sentimental moment. It was a dramatic change that suggested Catherine's tenacity is changing the course of the monarchy. To keep up with every royal announcement, hit the like button and subscribe before we get into the tears, the tribute, and the historical significance of it all. Let's prepare for this emotional shock now. The video abruptly stopped. Amid the customary rush of official announcements, a quiet palace upload. Shot in the dim light of the private rooms of Buckingham Palace, King Charles first came across as calm, his voice steady as he talked about strength and family. But the fractures showed when he went to Catherine's condition. Tears began to fall from his eyes as they began to build up. A unique sight for the king that left the audience speechless. There was no scripted performance, insiders said. It resulted from months of personal suffering, as he witnessed his daughter-in-law deal with cancer in a way that moved even the most jaded royal onlookers. In a proudly choked voice, Charles revealed the accolade as he hailed her as a tower of strength as well as a princess. This revealed the human side of the crown in a way that was revolutionary, unvarnished, and genuine. Since the conclusion of Catherine's treatment, royal observers had been speculating on her recuperation for months. However, this film turned conjecture into something meaningful. It emphasized how her voyage had united the family in previously unheard-of ways, with Charles establishing her as a legacy figure. The statement implied that her distinction will be recorded in history books with the greats by connecting her current struggles to historical victories. According to palace officials, Charles came up with the idea for the video, which was a conscious decision to humanize the monarchy in a time of unrest. He talked about vulnerability as the tears came, reiterating what Catherine had said about crossing rough seas in her recovery message. This was not a sign of weakness. It demonstrated a king who reigns with both heart and brain, making it a daring declaration of empathy. As viewers struggled with the sight of royal tears, the video's impact quickly spread, taking over headlines and trending on social media. There was a deeper purpose behind the passion, though, one that elevated Catherine's job much beyond her titles. We need to go back to the terrifying beginning of Catherine's health story in order to comprehend the gravity of Charles's weeping. In early 2024, there were reports about an abdominal procedure that would lead to many rumors. Then, in March, the shocking news that cancer had been confirmed and that preventive chemotherapy had begun arrived. The world watched as she resigned from her position, causing a media frenzy that put the family's fortitude to the strain. Supporting his son William and daughter-in-law through their joint suffering was a new experience for Charles, who was also battling his own cancer diagnosis at the same time. According to insiders, Charles used his late mother's knowledge to quietly offer support at private moments of solidarity. Everyone admired Catherine's composure during this time, even in fleeting moments like when she appeared at Wimbledon. However, rumors of exhaustion and the emotional toll of keeping her kids out of the spotlight made the toll clear. There were few updates while the treatment went on. However, Charles's video, which acknowledged the lengthy road to full recovery, represented a turning point. She was a fighter, he said. Her situation is a testimonial to her inner strength rather than a sign of defeat. His emotional outburst was enhanced by this backstory, which demonstrated how her struggle had created enduring ties among the family. Charles's vulnerability, according to royal analysts, reflected a larger trend in which the monarchy is favoring transparency over secrecy. The film humanized the unseen conflicts waged behind royal walls, but it avoided going into medical specifics to protect privacy. After months of public stoicism, the king's tears were cathartic, according to people close to him. From her diagnosis to her declaration that she was focused on avoiding cancer, Catherine's story became a story of hope, which Charles emphasized to encourage others. Because of this background, his startling honor felt earned and not given lightly, making her a lighthouse in a time of darkness. From early misgivings to a profound regard for one another, King Charles and Princess Catherine have always had a quiet, affectionate connection. He first had reservations about her joining the family as Princess of Wales, but her commitment won him over, particularly via her advocacy for mental health and early childhood development. This relationship grew stronger during their concurrent health crisis, as Charles relied on Mary for emotional support while providing his own. Palisades recounted touching discussions in which Catherine's optimism cheered the king during his medical procedures. This relationship was encapsulated in the video. His emotions served as a public declaration that she was more than just his in-law, but also a genuine confidant. He emphasized her contribution to modernizing the royal family by promoting family unity and sustainable efforts. According to insiders, Charles had long respected her fortitude, which was evident in his statement of honor. This was not a snap decision. It was the result of years of observing her gracefully handle scrutiny. The moving film demonstrated how Catherine's illness had strengthened their bond by bridging the gap between private sorrow and public remembrance, from wedding scandals to parenthood under scrutiny. Royal analysts noted that Charles's performance defied convention, displaying genuineness in place of his customarily quiet manner. Nevertheless, it struck a chord, showing a ruler who prioritizes compassion over manners. Private actions, such as Charles sending her private letters while she was recovering, were verified by sources, highlighting the genuineness of his statements. The world witnessed a king changed by hardship as he brushed away his tears, and he gave Catherine credit for assisting him in accepting his fragility. This background, which framed her as a collaborator in guiding the monarchy's future, added poignancy to the accolades reveal. Charles maintained enough composure to make the startling announcement during the video's final moments. His voice still shaking, he declared that Catherine had received a unique award that is only given to a select few people in the history of the monarchy. This was no ordinary medal or distinction. To honor her steadfast strength in the face of illness, a customary award known as the Order of Enduring Grace was established. Later, palace officials explained that it was a personal endowment from the king, signifying a legacy that went beyond custom. The thunderclap came when Charles compared Catherine's might to that of Queen Elizabeth I, who resisted attacks to her reign. His speech were interspersed with tears as he recalled Elizabeth's unparalleled history of survival and sovereignty, implying that Catherine's journey reflected her unwavering spirit. The accolade elevated her prestige beyond her title as Princess of Wales, leaving viewers in shock. According to insiders, Charles had been consulting historians to ensure historical parity during the months-long deliberations. Because of the unvarnished nature of the film, a private prize became a worldwide statement. Every frame was examined by media sources such as The Sun and Daily Mail, which pointed out how Charles's reaction emphasized the seriousness of the accolade. It wasn't pomp. It was a heartfelt recognition of her contributions to family stability and philanthropic work. Catherine was positioned as a stabilizing factor for the crown by the statement, which alluded to future roles. Charles's last heartbreaking smile, which blended celebration and sadness, made an enduring impression as the film came to a close. Questions circulated among royal observers. However, one thing was evident. Catherine became a historic figure in her own right with this accolade. Examining the honor's workings reveals its importance and rarity. Similar to private orders like the Royal Victorian Order, but specifically designed, the Order of Enduring Grace is based on old royal customs. Only a handful, like wartime heroines or loyal consorts, have been given similar honors, frequently posthumously. Charles established it to celebrate living examples of grace under duress, using his sovereign authority. According to sources, it consists of archival recognition in royal archives, a private ceremony, and iconic insignia. In the midst of her medical recuperation, Catherine's receipt establishes a standard by fusing classic bravery with contemporary hardship. Historians likened it to the distinctions given to individuals such as Queen Victoria's inner circle. But it was novel because of Charles's invention. Her condition-related background gave the video more emotional depth by demonstrating how her own struggles prepared her. Palace briefings stressed caution, and that the prize was given for true merit rather than for publicity. However, its tearful introduction guaranteed universal amazement. According to insiders, Charles saw it as a means of preserving her legacy and making sure that future generations would remember her fortitude. In addition to tactfully addressing succession issues, this distinction affirms Catherine's crucial position alongside William. Experts in royal protocol pointed out that it deviated from tradition by prioritizing content above show. Admiration increased as more information became available, and public surveys showed that people supported such individualized tributes. The order represents both perseverance and change, enabling the monarchy to modify awards in response to modern issues. Thus, Charles's statement in the movie was a brilliant move that respected history and preserved Catherine's trip. Princess Catherine's dignity is elevated to legendary proportions by the comparison to Queen Elizabeth I, a queen whose 44-year reign exemplified fortitude in the face of overwhelming adversity. The Virgin Queen, Elizabeth I, left behind a legacy of unparalleled strategic skill and cultural patronage, despite navigating a perilous terrain of political intrigue, religious conflicts, and personal seclusion without successors. King Charles made a startling analogy in his heartfelt video, comparing Elizabeth's resistance to existential challenges to her monarchy to Catherine's fight with disease. Despite being centuries apart, these ladies endured hardships that tried their very essence and came out as representations of unwavering resilience. Charles praised Catherine's gentle authority, which reflected Elizabeth's capacity to promote harmony and compel steadfast devotion in the face of disarray. Historians supported this by pointing out that Catherine's poise in the face of illness was paralleled by Elizabeth's ability to survive smallpox and her unrelenting intrigues. Both exemplify graceful endurance. The king implied that Catherine's distinction would eventually equal Elizabeth's imposing legacy, establishing her as a contemporary example of moral strength. According to insiders, Charles researched Tudor history in order to create this connection, seeking advice from academics to guarantee accuracy despite the unfiltered emotion of his speech. The analogy provoked much discussion. Supporters praised it as appropriate considering Catherine's revolutionary impact on the public perception of the monarchy, while detractors brushed it aside as pompous, claiming it exaggerated her position. Catherine's support of mental health, early childhood development, and environmental causes parallels Elizabeth's golden age, which was characterized by affluence and cultural flourishing. These causes have increased the monarchy's relevance in a society that is increasingly suspicious. Charles's tears highlighted a universal humanity that cuts across time, and the raw emotion of the video enhanced the impact of the comparison. Charles's decision felt daringly inventive, redefining royal acknowledgement for a modern era, while royal experts pointed up uncommon parallels like honors linking former queens to contemporary figures. Social media sites like X were ablaze with posts praising female strength in the monarchy, causing a seismic public response. Trending hashtags connected the two ladies, portraying them as twin pillars of courage, highlighting both Elizabeth's defiance and Catherine's tenacity. Thus, Catherine's honor acts as a temporal link, implying that her narrative will be interwoven with Elizabeth's in palace law. She is portrayed as a sovereign in spirit, whose silent power reshapes royal destiny because of this ancient bond, which elevates her above the status of consort. In addition to celebrating her individual journey, the proclamation represents a monarchy honoring its history and building a future based on compassion and perseverance. Beyond the glittering confines of Buckingham Palace, the significance of King Charles's moving film and the extraordinary distinction given to Princess Catherine Ripple signaled a monarchy undergoing a significant transition. His unvarnished emotional outburst, an uncommon break in the royal facade, dispels long-standing complaints about the institution's coldness. Charles humanizes the throne by shedding tears freely, showcasing a king who is bold enough to express his emotions. In an age of constant scrutiny, this vulnerability is a purposeful shift that puts the monarchy in line with a public yearning for authenticity. The Order of Enduring Grace solidifies Catherine's position as a future queen of unmatched grandeur. One of the main pillars of her legacy is her fortitude in the face of disease. With this designation, she moves beyond ceremonial functions and establishes herself as a possible policy influencer, especially in the fields of social welfare and health. According to insiders, palace talks already indicate that she is leading efforts under the directive, concentrating on mental health resilience and cancer recovery, two topics she has long supported with quiet tenacity. A united front as they get ready for their future reign is highlighted by Prince William's unwavering support, which is evident in the carefully chosen family updates. Their alliance, which was developed through mutual hardship, is an indication of a monarchy that prioritizes cooperation above authority. However, this emotional transparency has generated controversy. Overly emotive displays run the risk of weakening the crown's mystery and transforming royals into reality TV personalities, according to critics. But proponents view it as a brilliant move that satisfies the relatability and transparency criteria of the 21st century. The video's impact is increased by its timeliness following Catherine's significant recovery, which boosts public spirits as Charles deals with his own health issues. This coincidence creates a hopeful story by illustrating a family coming together to recover. In terms of finances, the privately sponsored award demonstrates sound financial management, dispelling earlier disputes regarding royal expenditures. Charles and Catherine demonstrate accountability by bearing the expenses themselves, which appeals to a cost-conscious public around the world. By portraying them as sympathetic leaders whose personal hardships reflect common human experiences, the video strengthens the monarchy's soft power. Given her increased status, Catherine is expected to play a major role in royal engagements in the future. Her legacy is now entwined with Queen Elizabeth II's unwavering character. This honor breaks outmoded conventions by putting family and well-being ahead of stiff pomp. It reinterprets royal duty and demonstrates how hardship can create enduring ties between the public and the family. Royal observers expect broad changes, with Catherine spearheading a humane rethinking of the monarchy's function. Her directive might lead to the creation of new customs, such as yearly health advocacy gatherings that improve community relations. Admiration for this change is evident in the global reaction to editorials in publications like The Times and popular hashtags. Charles's declaration, which was inspired by history and emotions, opens a daring new chapter by fusing legacy and emotion to reinterpret what it means to be a royal in the contemporary world. In addition to being a tribute, this moment serves as a model for a monarchy that values sincerity, resiliency, and interpersonal relationships, laying the groundwork for a reign that strikes a balance between custom and revolutionary change. King Charles's tear-streaked video and Princess Catherine's extraordinary award reveal a monarchy regaining its spirit as we draw to a close this extraordinary chapter. This was no short-lived royal spectacle. It was an honest, unvarnished look at a king battling personal suffering, while putting his daughter-in-law on a pedestal that few have ever reached. The calm fortitude and unflinching grace that characterized Catherine's cancer battle have been turned into a historic distinction that reflects Queen Elizabeth's fabled strength. The contrast is a significant accomplishment, establishing Catherine as a pivotal person in the history of the royal family, as well as for this particular period. Her narrative, which is interwoven with themes of triumph and vulnerability, demonstrates a monarchy that dares to combine tradition with the energy of contemporary life. The stern facade that has long been associated with the monarchy was shattered by Charles's passionate outpouring. His unbridled emotions as he described Catherine's strength were a daring break from the control that is required of kings. A change toward a throne that values empathy as much as responsibility was indicated by the revelation of a king who was not hesitant to show his emotions. In addition to celebrating Catherine's individual achievement, Charles has redefined leadership by bestowing upon her the Order of Enduring Grace. This unique, extremely personal honor highlights her function as a ray of hope. Her recuperation is evidence of the resilience of the human spirit. Catherine's legacy is likely to be one of quiet strength, influencing the destiny of the monarchy with compassion and conviction, as evidenced by her homage to Elizabeth Ferrous, a queen who faced existential dangers with unwavering fortitude. However, there are important questions at this time. Does Charles's unguarded vulnerability portend a more approachable period for the royal family? One in which the palace and the people are united by emotional transparency? Or does it run the risk of making it difficult to distinguish between private suffering and the refined responsibilities of royalty, raising questions about where the private and public spheres diverge? The award itself, which is privately funded and does not cost taxpayers, symbolizes a contemporary sensibility, but controversy surrounds its grandeur. Is this evolution required, or does it undermine the carefully constructed aura of the monarchy? Because of her enhanced status and her current relationship with a Tudor titan, Catherine challenges us to consider how far the crown may go to adapt to a changing world while remaining true to its origins. We ask you, our ardent royal observers, for your opinions. What do you think of Catherine's historic honneur and Charles's heartfelt homage? Does it raise questions about striking a balance between tradition and intimacy, or does it portend a dynamic, grounded future for the monarchy? Please share your opinions in the comments section below. We are hungry for all viewpoints. To keep up with every development in this growing story, hit subscribe, like, and share this video with other fans who are crazy about royal revelations. Keep your gaze fixed on the throne's constantly shifting drama until we cross paths again.